All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. We had the first day back from the holiday, and it was an absolute snoozer compared to the day before. But we got a lot more data this week, and then we got the Fed minutes today. But my goodness, they meant absolutely nothing. So here are the headlines from all of it. These are like the algo stuff. If you were there on stream, you watch this come out instantly. If you're not familiar, these Fed minutes are from the meeting last month where they decided to pause, but why it was such a little reaction and why it means nothing, because all of these statements you should have heard by now. And if you don't remember what we went through just about a week or so ago, we had that big conversation with Jerome Powell, the Bank of Japan, Bailey, and then ECB Lagarde. They were all pretty much saying the same thing. So the real message that came from the Fed minutes today and why it means nothing is because the bond market was already there. And then if you saw the bonds today, even all throughout the day, the yields are climbing, and now the 10-year is about to hit 4%. That's only happened a couple times in the last year, but we're going to jump back to that. But overall, the main message, the bonds already had this message priced in from the minutes. It was simple. Most of them agreed that they were going to pause on that last meeting, but all of them are steadfast and certain that they will be raising the rates at least one more time. But again, the SEP priced in too. So all of this, we know about the Fed futures. The odds went up a little bit, but since last week, the Fed futures have already been pricing in one more hike at July, and right now we have officially priced out all rate cuts all the way till March of 2024. So if you've been following along, you know that is a big development. So that was the big story of the day. We're going to see now what happens, because now as we move forward, we still have a lot of data. There was a lot of action in the bond market today, and even what we woke up to, it was a little bit more interesting because we had bad China data that came out. We even had some bad data out of Europe, or I guess not too bad. They had actually positive numbers in terms of inflation going down, but there was bad data in China. We ended up having bad data. Then there was news that the U.S. is going to limit some of the cloud purchases to China. This was big in the morning. It affected NVIDIA or even Amazon and Microsoft. But then we heard from China, and it was a little bit weird because first they were saying that they want to increase cooperation and they don't want to break people apart. And then they came out and said that they're banning some of the rare earths. They're limiting germanium or germanium and gallium or Galileo. That's on you, but that was the news in the morning. We also got a headline. I just want to show you this thing. Rivian, they were up like 20% or something in the morning because they launched the delivery truck in Europe, but that's the delivery truck. But we had that news in the morning. Other than that, the only driver was the Fed minutes and the bonds and even the dollar. Everything already reacted. The market kind of stayed up in the levels, even some of the indexes as far as like the breakdown of what happened today. There was a couple of tech stocks that went up, and then everything else pretty much went down. People have been pointing out this kind of weird rotation that we have been getting, but that was pretty much all we had today. We're going to be getting some data, some jobs data tomorrow morning. The ADP will be important. I think this can move stuff, especially given how the bonds have been moving. But then Friday, that non-farms is going to be important. And now, as we get into the plays, there's something important happening, because at the end of this week, we have non-farms on Friday. Next week is going to be CPI at the beginning of the week. And then end of next week, we kick off bank earnings. And then the week after that, you start to get earnings. So let us get into the plays. But I hope that was a quick breakdown. Again, not too much happened. I think we're going to start getting the ball rolling after we get over the holiday hangover. But now as far as plays, I got to start off with Tesla, because this is going to be an interesting pre-earnings play. So what I want you to notice about it is how much it has moved and when the last earnings were. So April 19th, April 20th, this was their last earnings. They went from 187 down to 162. But if you go back to January 26th to 29th, That was their other earnings, and they were at 162 after being at 142. So what I'm trying to tell you is that Tesla right now, from their last earnings, like top to bottom, they are about like $100 higher. So they've moved a lot since their last earnings. Their earnings are going to be at the end of next week. But here's the thing about it. It's moved up a lot. Again, 100 from last earnings, but you start to pull this chart back out. They got like $30 until the next support level. And then after that, I mean, you start to get back into the all-time high. So the thing about the earnings, I think this could move a lot of dollars, but the other day, why did the stock even gap up recently on the short term? That was all because of these delivery numbers that we just got. So somebody asked me about it today. I think a lot of this is going to be baked in, but pretty much I think the earnings move is happening now until earnings, and then maybe on the earnings we'll get a little bit of a push as everything reports afterwards. But what I'm telling you, watch Tesla leading into their earnings. It has already moved a ton, and if it does start to break out, there's a couple more dollars to the upside, but even from the last earnings, it's already moved about $100. So going to be watching that. That is play number one. Then play number two. This one I'm pretty conflicted about, and my only play on it is for the long term right now, but Meta, they outperformed today. There's two things going on. There's like a bunch of news about the EU and Canada and fines, and you would think that would hurt them, but now they are coming out with this new thing called Threads. So go on the App Store, you will see this, the launch date, all of that stuff going on. It is pretty much a Twitter competitor. It's literally going to be Twitter. You link it in through your Instagram, and now you're going to be able to interact through a Facebook, Instagram app that is like Twitter. Stock is going up on that. They're going to announce it. People ask me what I think about it. I have no plays on it, and I think it's going to be a long time before you know whether it's a success or failure. Pretty much you're going to keep hearing about it, how many people they signed up or not, and it's going to take some time to figure out, but overall there's some reaction, and now they are breaking out. They get above this 295, or I think 297 was what we were talking about today. They've already filled a lot of gaps, but pretty much the last one would be that January earnings that absolutely murdered Meta, or I think they were even called Facebook at the time. I'm not too sure, but gonna be watching them. They report a little later, but let's see how this launch plays out. But you're going to hear headlines on signups and yada. So remember when the verification stuff came out. So kind of similar, but this one will probably be a little bigger. We're going to see what happens with that, but that is play number two. And then finally, play number three is going to be PayPal. That's it. No games about this one. It's at the breakout level from earnings. They report a little later, so it's going to be like August 5th, about a month. It's not going to be like Facebook or anything like that, but they could work their way up here, and if we see financial strength, or now even some of the bank earnings, I think we might get a lift, and especially too, just broadly speaking, you know, these bank stocks or this regional banking and the REITs and just the connection, all that financial stress, even kind of mentioned in the minutes, they said it's cooling. That could also kind of fuel some of these financial plays, but it's at a breakout point. I've been saying watch for 70 on this for a while. May want to try to flip some shares. Otherwise, we're only chilling with the long term on that. But ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much it. I didn't make any other plays today. I tried to flip a VBIV. They got like a deal after hours. Then they did an offering. I lost like $30 on it. Then it ended up dropping. But other than that, I'm going to be keeping an eye on biotechs. I think you got Biogen PDUFA. That should be coming tomorrow. But going to be watching these plays I told you about and then seeing with the data. The final thing is going to be, does it end up being like 2001 or 2006, or I guess 1999? But we're really close to getting that answer, and the bonds have already moved. But I think we're going to find out as this Friday CPI Tuesday 1-2 punch. We'll go from there. But Chad, that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember a little bit of quantum metamorphosis, anamorphs. And what I mean is Schrodinger's cat, my friend. Two things can be present at once. You don't know the reality till you open up the box. So go educate yourself. That's it. You already know, Chad. Let's go. Get elevated with it. Elevate the long term, and you got to save 10% to do that, baby. So keep it up. Drink that water. Stay hydrated. Stay healthy. I need you in drive tomorrow. And that's good. It's good to be back on this Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday. Hey, man. See you on Call Real Estate tonight, too. That's it, Chad. Hey, man. Goodbye. I showed you am I sunburned? I look kind of so. You'll see it. If I showed you my tummy is bad, I can't show you. Can I show that? I think I'll get banned. I did it before once back in the day. And I'm going to go. Horn.